Good evening, everybody. Very, very warm welcome to the month of May. Yes, it is very warm. My name is Sandhya Prakash. Welcome to the Zena family. And we have a very, very special guest who turns waste into wealth or gives you clues on how to turn waste into wealth. So, with a warm welcome and a big round of applause, if we had a big audience, let's welcome Nupur Tandon. Nupur, welcome to the Heart to Heart show at Zena Family. This particular show is something that we do with people from the Zena family. And I really love chatting to the exclusive and very experienced members of Zena family over a period of time. And I'd love for you to begin with your brief introduction. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Sandhya. I'm very glad that I now am a part of the Zena family. And my intro. I was born in Prayagraj, born and brought up, and education happened there. And life took me to places, and there were a lot of enablers and some disappointments as we have, as we go through life, and I held on to a lot of positive things, a lot of learning and experiences. So I got a chance to work in a startup in France, and then I came back to India. I was working in the embassy of France, and I realized I was a misfit. And then, of course, kids happened, and rearing kids, and alongside uh, with that, I decided to study. I enrolled myself in environmental sciences. Somehow, I understood that I wanted to solve a social problem. I want to do something meaningful, and that finally eventually led on to what I am doing now. I conceptualized and founded Pro Waste Concepts in 2012. Since then, we've been creating zero waste campuses. So I call myself a change maker. It is not really a waste management company. I don't call it a waste management company, but we are working with communities and campuses to educate them, enable them, and empower them to become zero waste. So I think that was my calling, working in this sector, working for the environment, working with the people to create greener spaces, and I'm very happy to do that. Yeah, that's my brief.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's really you're blessed to find your calling early on in life so that you could
Absolutely.
do
No,
that,
no, it's
right?
not early on in life. It's not
Okay.
early on.
No, come on.
No, no, it's
When
not
your
early.
hands and feet are moving still, that's called early on in life. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I agree what you
Age
say,
is
but it
just a
was not
number.
really early on. It took years to find out. Yeah.
Fair enough.
But
Fair
I'm
enough.
blessed. Absolutely.
Yes.
Swadharma, when you find out your Swadharma is like the most amazing thing.
Right.
Ikigai, I
Right.
mean, it's like best thing it can happen to you.
Sure, sure. Wonderful. Great, great to meet you. Welcome back on the show. I just want to also share that this is something very close to my heart. I used to run a solar energy and energy management company
Wow.
back in Dubai. So for many years, yes, waste, uh, what an education that is needed for people to understand, to one,
Absolutely.
reduce waste, then to recycle the waste and then use it in manner. So what is your starting point? Let's stick to this for us to just go a little deeper on how is the process. What do you do at Pro Waste to educate and then make them take action, because that is the key, right? So how do you do that?
Yeah. So when I decided that I would, work in this space, I absolutely knew that I did not want to just become another waste management so-called company in India. And it was very helpful to to learn by observation that why in Europe or any other European city where I stayed for 8 years, why there's a problem. I mean, why those countries are cleaner, or it's a structure and the way they are handling waste, and what's the issue in India. So that was a lot of thought, and my learning and observation and my experience also helped me a lot. My experience with my in the startup in France and then embassy of India. I mean, I understood that it required a lot of micro level designing, micro level intervention. It needed a lot of eye for detail to solve this, a systemic gap. I mean, we know that I understood that it existed. It was not about waste. It was about the process that was missing at the ground level, implementation issues that was missing at the ground level. The people mindset was the biggest challenge. So all these, went into the concept. I mean, in India, since ages we are recycling, since ages we are doing biogas. Solar is not it's not rocket science, but why it was not happening? That was, I don't know, that was a major cause of concern, and that is all these learnings went on. um when was conceptualizing my model. I called it a pro-waste model. And that is why it's called pro-waste concepts. It's not like I pick up waste and carry it. And then I chose to work with institutions and campuses. It was a very cautious decision, because that's the place where I can connect most with people, especially youngsters. And I very, strongly believe that only youngsters can bring the change now. We've already done what we did and what we've done to our country. So then came the designing of the concept to create zero waste campuses. And our model has it's a stepwise model where we go do very, very detailed work in each phase. And that would fulfill our vision. The vision which we have is a future without landfills. So that is how the whole concept was designed, and it started flowing, it started implementing. And so we do a lot of education, awareness, infrastructure building, planning, designing processes and implementation, and bringing in the vendors. So that is the main, I would say, the concept, the process, which helps us to create zero waste campuses. So that fulfills our vision, a future without landfills. Because in India, I realized that we are carrying, we're just transporting waste. That had to stop. So that's how everything just, was
fell into place
was
for you.
designed. Yeah.
So if I'm a novice, I know nothing about environment, I know nothing about what happens in this process. Give me 3 simple steps that is a takeaway for our audience who's listening here. What would you do? One, then what should I do next? And what would I do third in this when you are in the picture? What would you advise?
It's a very holistic approach. Okay, waste management is a very holistic approach. It cannot be just just take it away from your site.
Right.
So what any individual can do is, first of all, do a bit of planning. Okay, planning would mean how to place dustbins in your place, and that would lead to segregation at source.
Right.
Okay, you just cannot say like, we have to segregate waste at source in our homes. For that, you require planning, right? So that is what I tell people, to achieve this, what goes in.
Right.
That's important. So that planning is important. Second is, of course, connecting with the right vendor or technology for safe disposal.
Sure.
Okay. So that the loop
These two.
is, complete. And definitely, uh, to make everything happen correctly, first is always your consumption choices.
Right.
So
Of course.
that's the first step. I mean, it's not that you continue to generate waste and continue to send it for recycling. That is not waste management per se.
Fine.
First,
So,
definitely
yeah. So
comes
first,
choose the right
the
eco-friendly
consumption.
products, or reduction of, consumption of plastic, consumption of, the products which can be toxic or chemical loaded products. So these are the three major things if any individual or anybody tries to take care of, they will be, some good results that would, lead to, say, we are doing waste management,
So
you can say.
what I'm
Yeah.
listening, Nupur, is one, consumption. So focus on consumption, reduce it. Two, disposal. So how do you dispose this or recycle it, or on site what you do? So how does it go away? Okay, consumption first, then the third being, how do you continue on a continuous basis, do it as a process. Am I right?
Hmm.
Like, so that it
Okay,
becomes a
the
part of your habit.
planning and
Planning and
preparation was
ha,
and yeah, that
planning,
was very important phase, which leads to
planning,
correct disposal,
disposal. Okay. So
handling of
planning,
process.
then disposal. Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
consumption, planning, disposal. So can we say CPD? Consumption,
Okay,
planning,
whatever
disposal.
you
Because
want to,
they
yeah.
have to, because people, when they listen to you, I don't want them to go away feeling that it's a very complex thing and they can't do it themselves.
Absolutely. So what Provis is trying to do is to simplify waste management for people.
Precisely.
That's
So
very
we have
important. If we
to,
make it
yeah.
complex and, oh, it's a big deal, rocket science, people will not just, not
Correct.
even try to do it. So we simplify for them. We make
Correct.
it
Very
very
excellent.
simple.
Excellent.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about Nupur. You said you were born and you grew up in Prayagraj. Tell us a little about your school and college life.
Okay. Yeah, as a kid, I was doing a lot of things. I was studying, of course, I had to, dancing, music, athletics, and I excelled in athletics. I was a
Wow.
sprinter, and I think it was God gifted, and I was happiest on the tracks.
Tracks.
And
100, 200. I was sprinter too.
and
So like,
hurdles,
okay, hurdles.
100-meter hurdles, and high jump, and long jump. And
Mm.
I was saddest sitting in the class with my textbooks and happiest in the tracks. So that says a lot about me, the kind of energy. And, and one thing also happened, I could never see anybody in front of me, running in front of me.
Wow.
So
Competitive.
I was there, and I don't know, it was really God gift. I was blessed. So I
And
think
college?
that's another innate until grade 12th, yeah, college, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think that's another thing which helps you to, develop your personality, because when you are on the tracks, when you are competing, when you are, and you have an athletic body, you have energy, you will take care of your nutrition, you are very positive. So I think that was, even though I stopped running on the tracks, once you graduate or whatever, but it stays with you. So
Right.
that has been a great phase of my life, and music always stays in your heart. It never goes, and I can so all these things have been that's what rounds up your life.
Yeah, gives you a very rounded
And
personality. Indeed. Indeed. I
but
completely
yeah,
agree with you.
I think as an entrepreneur, you have to be. You cannot just
Right.
do focus on just one thing. And I mean, for example, I can study waste management and environment science in the textbooks, but you need to understand much more beyond just what you've learned in the textbook to become an
Practical.
entrepreneur. Yeah, so
Practical.
and you need that energy, you need that positivity, you need an undying spirit, you need that
Right.
grit. So
Right.
I think all this sports gave me.
Fantastic.
I
Fantastic.
absolutely believe it. Sports gave me all that. And then music is something what also relaxed me. So you need a
Lovely.
combo of everything. So
Yeah.
I think And
Where
another
did
thing
you
I would
college? Where
add
did you
on,
go for college? Where did you move
in
on to college?
Prayagraj only, in Prayagraj only.
Prayagraj.
And of course, I kept on doing continuous studies in of course also in Paris and also in Delhi and then also in Bangalore. Another thing I was add on is like my love for nature. I think it started on very early in life as a toddler maybe because we had a huge garden and my grandfather used to tend to it, literally spend hours in the garden, and I used to be just behind him all the time, you know. So I think my love for nature started there.
Fantastic.
And
Beautiful.
yeah, so all of these, were destined to happen. I say like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, it is because I think growing up on the banks of Ganges, when I used to, 14 years I spent in a small town called Narora on the banks of the
Okay.
Ganges. And we used to,
Wow.
Amki Gutli, we would eat and throw, and there was a tree, within no time. And it was so fertile, the land, that you start
Yeah.
observing and then
Yeah. Yeah.
imbibing all that is around you, right? So that what makes you, and kudos that you took it up as
Absolutely.
your career as you went along and you figured out that that was your swadharma. So
Yeah.
for
So
this
as I said,
success,
it did not happen early on in life. It
yeah,
happened
it
after
happened
many,
after
many years.
many years. Yeah. So what give me top three qualities, important qualities for success in your field? What are the three important, if there are environmentalists and there are so many youngsters who are today wanting to do good, what are the three important qualities for success for you? Whether you have achieved it or not, it doesn't matter. But what do you think are the three qualities that are needed?
So I think for any entrepreneur, it's important, but specifically for an environmental sector because it's such a big challenge, and
Right,
so I think perseverance is one thing,
right,
because the results do not come so easy,
right,
and I'm not selling a product, so
right,
it takes time to even to do some any kind of sales, and you have to create your own niche market and results have to come. They don't come easily. I mean, and perseverance is one thing, grit, because again, as I said, and conviction, because you really have to believe very strongly what you are doing, and communicate it to people. So I think these three
three.
things: perseverance, grit, and
Perseverance,
conviction.
grit, and
They all
conviction.
overlap each other, but
Yeah, all without that basic foundation, you
yeah.
can't
They
even
are
think of
very
success.
they might sound very, very old fashioned, Sandhya, they might sound very old fashioned, but I'm telling you, there's no shortcut. I
Absolutely.
cannot think of any new jargons, but I maybe I'm old fashioned, old school, but this
No, no,
still
these are
works.
timeless.
This
I
still
will call them
works.
more like timeless.
There's no
So
shortcut.
timeless, yeah, no
Yeah,
shortcut, and these are timeless
yeah, yeah.
values. So thank you for sharing that.
No shortcut.
On the same way, can you talk about one mistake in your career and what you learned from it? Like something that you could have done differently, and it was a mistake, and you would, and what was the learning from that? If you think there is anything that comes top of your mind, Nupur. So one mistake in your career you made and what you learned from it.
Think there's any mistake. There were some breaks.
Okay.
Okay. But um, during the breaks, also, you continue to learn and educate yourself.
Mm.
Okay. I don't know. Even mistakes which happen are destined to happen.
True.
As an entrepreneur who is no is a self starter, self made. You are. It's okay to make mistakes. For example, going very, very deeply, I would say that okay, I was not such a great. Marketing and sales initially, or I was not looking at the numbers and revenue initially, but then it's okay.
Hello, Nupur.
Hi. Something went
Yeah,
wrong.
you're back. You're back. You're
Something
back.
went
I
wrong.
don't know.
I don't know what
That's
happened.
okay. That's okay. No, you were just talking about how mistakes do happen. And
Yeah.
right.
I think
So
mistakes should not deter you from not moving ahead. It happens, you learn
that's the
from them.
lesson. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is the
I mean,
lesson.
and I continued my education. That's I'm very happy I did it. It's not, and you continue networking. You make some mistakes because I'm a self learner. I started it all by myself. So some mistakes when you're not focused on the numbers, you just miss out
Sure.
on doing if enough marketing and sales, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
No,
Yeah.
thank you for
I'm
sharing that.
scared of
Thank you
making
for
mistakes
being,
at all. I'm
thank you
not
for
I'm not scared of making mistakes at all.
fantastic. So, on similar lines, one of the other things that happens with entrepreneurs, because I've been there, done that as well, 17 years in the Middle East, and so many things that we could have done differently, maybe, but no regrets, because they're all learnings.
Yeah,
Every time it is a
absolutely.
learning. It is a learning. So, how
Mhm.
do you handle criticism and negative feedback, because that is a huge challenge for a lot of entrepreneurs, because they start with so much enthusiasm. They want to go wing it, but you do get a lot of negative feedback from family, from friends, from customers, and also a lot of criticism when you are on the way. So how do you personally, Nupur, handle something like this?
As I said, conviction was one of the very important things for
Right.
an that's one thing. And I think if you can also draw positivity from a criticism, and of
Hmm.
course you have to understand that maybe it might help you to do better. But if some criticism is like persistent and just for negativity, I don't care. I don't care.
Just ignore. So basically what you do is just brush it off your shoulder,
Yeah.
ignore,
If
and
yeah, I can learn. I mean, if there's something to learn from it, yes,
constructive. If
definitely.
it is
I should
something
not be.
constructive.
I should not block myself to any criticism. There can be
Yeah.
some positive coming out of it. Definitely, you
Any
take
story you want
that.
to share? Any story you want to share on that, when you faced that and how you came out from your customer,
To me
from
as a um, not criticism. I think it was not negative. It was a positive criticism where maybe when the initial years I when I used to go for marketing or sales meet, I was not enough prepared enough, and I would think, I would just assume that, oh, the client the I'm going to would be very happy to see my product and they will accept it readily with open arms, but it did not happen. And I got feedback that my presentations were not done well, and I did not make them very it could not hit them, and so all this came, and I'm like, okay. Yeah,
yeah,
you learn.
Correct, correct, correct.
That
A
it
proud
might,
on the
yeah,
same
you
lines.
might seem negative. I mean, you're very disturbed at that moment, but then you have to think and then you improve, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Any proud moment you want to share with all of us? You're on mute. You can unmute yourself.
कर दो वानी.
So you can unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the proudest moment in your career so far. What is your proud moment? Do share with
Yeah,
us.
regarding pro waste, yeah, I would. It happened quite early on, huh? So, there's a award which is given for entrepreneurs. It's called Entrepreneur Award. It's by TiE Bangalore and IIM Bangalore. And I don't know how I just found this out and I applied. It was very early stages. And that time I was even, no, I had few projects, but I was still trying to, understand it, will this work or not work? I was very unsure. And we got selected for that. And I think that was a great thing which happened to Pro Waste, and getting that entrepreneur award, and then going to IIM Bangalore, which I never dreamt of, for a boot camp and spending time with other entrepreneurs and getting mentoring and coaching from uh, those people was like quite a feat for me, especially those early years. So I'm very proud of it.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, the IM is doing a lot of NSRDCL is doing a lot of stuff even today, and
Yeah, and this
and
entrepreneur award is not for when they look at just your revenues and all that. They
yeah,
look at the
idea.
concept, yeah, concept, and how an entrepreneur or founder is focused, and the idea which would which could take which could get taken ahead. And I'm
Right,
very proud that I'm still doing the same,
right, right.
because entrepreneurship, I mean, when it's difficult, or when you're not getting any enough revenue, or people just let go, they just shut down shops. But even those difficult times of COVID, or all those difficult situations, I'm continuing to do pro waste and sometimes people come to me like after many years, oh, you're still doing waste management. I'm like, yeah, I'm born to do it. So
So how do you
entrepreneur.
stay? So very, very nice. That award that you remember, that's one of your early days one would have given
Yeah,
you such a
yeah, yeah. I
boost.
had never imagined, never. And this was
Yeah,
my first award, and never imagined. And Entrepreneur Award by TiE Bangalore and IIM is quite a big thing. And for me, of course, it is. I don't know about others, but for me, it was. I had
yeah,
never
sure. Wonderful.
expected that I would be selected, and my idea and would really be, I could make it big.
Right, right.
So,
No,
yeah.
sometimes, Nupur, what happens is even if we don't have enough belief in our idea and what the road we are walking, if even one person comes forward and says, no, you're doing the right thing,
Yeah.
that is a huge push. So I think that award would have done that for you at the early stage when you had left
Absolutely.
everything else and
Yeah.
then started this. So on an ongoing basis, you did mention that this is not an easy line. There is a lot of education, planning, which you have to teach customers, you have to convince to a certain extent, and then so on. So, how do you stay motivated on a day-to-day basis to get up, do the same thing over and over again? And maybe also, how do you innovate if you need to do any innovation as you go along? What motivates you and how do you innovate?
So, see, when we go to campuses, first of all, every campus is different, huh?
Right.
And these campuses have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So I think I draw energy from them.
Okay.
When I go and work with youngsters, I mean, that really, energizes me. And I'm very happy to, spend time with people on the campus.
Sure.
That really, is very helpful. Definitely, I'm doing the same thing, but when I do the same thing on with different people and different campuses, my concept always remains the same when we customize it according to our clients. So that anyways, it
Keeps you
refreshes.
motivated.
All campuses are very different, and I go to so many other different states. So a campus mein jaake I have to understand in Gujarati, then one in Telugu, and in here in Kannada, or I was in Maharashtra. So it is
Hmm.
anyways very new for me. So I
Sure.
don't get bored, first of all. And I'm very focused on my vision, a future without
Mm.
landfills. That drives
Mm.
me.
Nice.
So everything I do to ensure that I get my vision, clearly through that my the waste from my campus is doesn't reach the landfill. So I'm very, very focused to achieve that.
Nice.
So
Nice.
the energy on the campuses and my vision, I don't deviate from them. I think these are two things which make every project a fresh and a new, and a field where I'm ready to run and do my work.
Wow. Wow. Very inspiring. Very
Yeah.
inspiring that you're keeping your
Yeah, and
focus.
definitely our concept, our stepwise model, it remains the same. We customize it based on our clients. That's it. Yeah. I don't get bored of my
Very
work.
nice, very nice.
Not at
So,
all.
when we were in Dubai, and it was a very clean city, the waste, and nobody throws things around. There are rules, regulations. People also, yes, it is a high consumption society, but they have a waste management plant where everything goes, everything is collected. There is a routine. You have fines otherwise if you don't do. So, coming to India 4 years ago, one of the key things was, Plus, we need to do something. So we got together in Sarjapur. A lot of the young kids cleaned the outside recently, about 6 months ago. And, the weather was good. So people came up, same in the company that we went to. We did the same thing here. But you must have heard of Arun Pai, who cleans makes walkways walkable. If you have not, you should definitely check him out. And, making Bangalore a walkable city, because all there are footpaths, but it's full of junk. It's full of waste.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so cleaning is one of the ways that he does. Okay, so we joined that and we painted
Uh,
places under flyovers and did all this, and that's extremely motivating to keep doing this again and again. But in the long run,
mm,
we want the citizens to become aware and to also do things by themselves, right? You are
yeah.
focusing on campuses, but I'm talking about the general streets and the civic sense and all that. So we'll come back to that. Okay, we'll come back to that at some time. But you did one quite quick diversion. You mentioned singing and dancing. So what kind of dance did you learn, and what kind of
Learned
songs did
Kathak.
you sing? Okay,
I
Kathak.
learned Kathak when I was a kid actually. And yeah, Hindustani classical music. Yeah, I
Nice,
learned for a
nice.
few years. Yeah,
Can
stays
we
with me. Yeah.
think about it towards the end? We'll request you to sing a few lines if you are open to
Oh,
it.
no, no,
Otherwise,
no.
we'll see.
I'm
No,
not
no, no,
open.
no, 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 no. Okay, okay. We'll talk about it later. Now, in
Yeah,
this
I can talk
journey,
about it, but not sing.
sing. Okay.
Not on
So,
this platform, definitely.
definitely. Okay. Um, in this field that you are, there are a lot of inspirational people. Any influential
Mm.
mentors you want to talk about, where you look up to, or you would also like the listeners in Zena family and even outside to be guided by them? Who is your influential mentor in this area?
In this sector, I'll tell you, when I came to Bangalore, the first person I listened to about waste management was Vani Murthy. Okay,
Sure.
she is the person who was one of the pioneers who started all this in Bangalore. So I got a chance to listen to her and the team in Solid Waste Roundtable. So those were the people I heard, and then I picked up, no, waste management, definitely. I mean, she talks about how home composting is so good. And I mean, everybody should, follow home compost. She's, of course, I mean, you want to focus on composting when composting. But also in environment space, I love to listen to Sunita Narayan. I always, her talks and her videos are when you get a broader picture and her concept about. She don't talk about only waste management, but as a environment as a whole. So I listen to her, which is like a lot of learning experience and she's trying to solve the problem in her own ways. And so, and Vandana Shiva, I like to listen a lot.
Of course,
She
of
also
course. Yeah, I
talks
was
very
going to prompt
strongly.
you.
Yeah, yeah. She's
Mm.
really there to, talking about how our slow food and slow fashion and all that. So these are few people I do follow and listen to. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, in this particular field, I know we have spoken a lot on this. What do you think is the future for Bangalore? What is the current project you're working on, and what is it that we can do differently? A message for everybody. We're kind of coming to the close and towards the end of our chat on Heart to Heart. What is that? What is it that your heart is communicating or wants to communicate to the listeners? What is it that we have to do moving forward?
I think as an individual, it's very important for everybody to understand that our actions are having repercussions, you know. And today we see how what we've done to the city. I mean, even I came in here in 2010, but this change is like drastic and really it breaks my heart. So everybody has to take ownership, each one of us. And that changes they have to change their mindset, their consumption patterns, and how they are behaving. That's one thing I want to tell everybody, that don't think that it'll just happen on its own. Or government is responsible or municipality is responsible, and if they have new waste management amended laws of 2026, everything will happen automatically. So be realistic and uh, take this ownership and responsibility that I am equally responsible. I think that one thought will make a difference. And I always talk about 3 R's, not reduce. I have new 3 R's. I say rethink your consumption, rethink where you are putting your waste, rethink where your waste is going to go. So only because you rethink, you will be able to try to understand the problem and make some efforts. Then the second R for me is redefine. We have to understand cleaning and waste management are two different concepts. What we think is we are cleaning our homes and putting the waste outside, or no, we just think that my vendor who's certified by BBMP or whatever will do the needful. I'm sorry, you have to you have to do waste management. You have to stop cleaning. So that's redefine. The last 3 R is redesign. If we don't redesign the infrastructure which we have in our homes or apartment complexes or in campuses, if we don't redesign the processes of waste flow, if we don't redesign the processes of how waste is going to be handled and disposed of, we'll never be able to do it. So so rethink, redefine, and redesign. That's everybody has to
Rethink,
understand.
rethink, redefine,
Redef-
and
and
redesign.
redesign waste management. So
That's
these are the new
wonderful.
3 R's that would ensure that you reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Recycle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start thinking about it on a minute to minute
Yeah,
basis
people
when
are not
you're,
thinking, we will not bother.
yeah.
So that is what I have been telling people. Educate yourself, you know.
And
If you
with the
don't.
coming of this 10-minute deliveries, packaging increase, isn't it just the opposite that we are doing?
Yeah, I'm guilty of sometimes. I mean, yeah, you order you groceries and all, but then maybe it's difficult sometimes to resist, because it's so easy. But a lot of packaging comes along with it.
Right.
So I think best we could do is manage all that packaging. We cannot always go to the store and and with your dabbas and buy your groceries. We cannot do it 100%. I'm not saying you can make it zero. You cannot make your plastic consumption zero in today's world. But yes, I do not order food from outside, and like in plastic
Right.
boxes. Or if I have to, I mean, we say go with your own boxes. There are some efforts which can be taken.
Taken. Yeah.
I don't say that no, it can be zero plastic. It cannot be zero plastic, but it can be zero single-use plastic.
Correct. Sure.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
can be done. So
Wonderful.
take few steps. I want to tell
Absolutely.
everybody.
Absolutely.
Take the
Absolutely.
first few important steps, and then
Yeah.
you will be able to, once you take those steps, you will learn more and educate yourself more. Then you will find ways to do it better. So that is how it happens. You cannot
Yeah.
be.
You're reminding me of what we did in Dubai in early 2008, 2009, when we started the anti-plastic campaign. Now there is a law against everything. So as Citizens Forum, we got together all the plastic manufacturing companies in the Middle East, sitting in one table and telling them that we need to, that was a very brave move that we did. And secondly, we went to all the stores and there was a campaign called Reduce Plastic Jute Up. So just carrying bags with you to stores was missing completely. And the
Yeah.
stores didn't know. They would be very happy to give you more plastic bags to use in the house as plastic bins at some time. They would just give it free. At least here, we, don't give it like that because probably some of the supermarkets did at some point. But there they would give 10, 10. लेके जाइए मैडम, लेके जाइए, free है. So all that needed a
So
lot.
we'll charge you for the bags, but when you go to any smaller store or I mean, no street shopping, then they will give you back so easily.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even if
Charge
say the
itself,
BBMP is.
yeah, charge itself came in later, but that was I'm reminded of those days where now at least because of social media and everything else, there's a lot of information and knowledge available,
Yeah,
and the current
yeah.
generation is also
I'm
pretty
very
aware.
hopeful that our youngsters are going to, bring the change. It really gives me
Absolutely,
hope. Yeah, yeah.
absolutely,
We
yeah.
have to live with this hope.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you. Let's end on that hopeful note, today's discussion.
absolutely.
Nupur Tandon, Pro Waste, may that be a project of not just a lifetime, but for the city of Bangalore and bring you a lot of
And
joy
beyond.
and satisfaction. And across the country, may it spread. And welcome to the Zena family. It's lovely to know you. Over the last 45 minutes, we have had a wonderful chat. I would have loved for you to gungunawfy and end on a personal note, some music, if
So
you don't mind.
I
Just
think I can,
I
what
don't
I can
mind.
sing? What I can
Huh.
sing? Swachh Bharat ka irada kar liya maine. I think the jingle which comes, it's
Huh.
very, I
Gao,
really
gao,
like it.
gao. Come on.
Swachh
Do that.
Bharat ka irada. I don't know the rest of the line, but that's it. Swachh Bharat ka
So
irada.
you recommend everybody
That's my
to
tagline today.
Swachh Bharat का इरादा कर लिया हमने. ठीक है?
That's good
बस
enough.
बढ़िया.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
so much,
Nupur.
Sandhya.
Lovely speaking to you and have a
Absolutely.
wonderful day ahead.
Same here.
Okay? Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks a
Thank you.
lot.